Guys, it's Rick De La Stick in the house, and I'm coming at you with an informative video. More of a technical video. A video that most likely has never been made before, because I'm going to talk about power curls, what I've been doing. I call them power curls some videos because it's a curl grip, but it's like a power clean. But it's more so of a supinated power clean because it's more so like a clean than it is a curl. So first and foremost, why do I do this movement? Do I do it for biceps? No, because there's hardly any biceps involved with it. So for those people saying, well, you're going to tear a bicep, not really. I'm not going to say the chance isn't there, but I hardly feel it at all in my biceps, which is good or it's bad, depending on how you look at it. But considering how I'm doing the movement, which you guys have seen the past week, I'm not doing this for my biceps. If I wanted to do this for my biceps, then I would do less weight and I would really milk the negative. But what you guys are seeing is more just of a supinated power clean. So the reason I'm doing it is because it has all the same benefits as a power clean. Now, what are the benefits of a power clean? Well, it works every single muscle group in the body, from the tips of your toes to your neck, even your jaw muscles. So it works every muscle group in the body. It requires a tremendous amount of explosiveness to get the weight all the way up. So you can't use as much weight. So for someone like me, who I'm still rehabbing my knee, and I don't want to be, I don't want to have to pull 600 pounds or so. Like, that's why I stopped doing the double overhand deadlifts, obviously because I plateaued as well with the grip strength. But then I could have kept going with the trap bar deads. But I just don't want to push my knee too much. So that's why I moved to more of an explosive, dynamic movement. That there's something to be said for speed work, right? Just like there's something to be said for partials. Should you do it all the time and rely on only partials? Of course not. We've already talked about this. And it's the same thing like with speed reps, explosive movements of that sort. Should you only do those? Of course not. You'll be missing out on other elements. But there's something to be said for it. And then the velocity at which the bar is moving when you're exploded off the ground, it requires a tremendous amount of grip strength as well, especially for this underhand grip. I don't know if you guys have ever tried doing a double underhand grip deadlift, but it's harder than doing double overhand. So I'm not saying that that's the reason I'm doing it, but that's another benefit for it. And on top of that, it's just super fun. And it's, in my opinion, less technical. It's even more simple of a movement than just a straight up like an athlete power clean. Whereas a power clean, when you get it up, you should rack it like in a front squat position. Well, as you guys know, if you do front squats, a front squat in that regard requires tremendous wrist mobility, tricep, lat, shoulder mobility to keep it up in that position. Now, if you're throwing a weight up, you're exploding the weight up and catching it like that, if you don't have that mobility, you'll most likely get hurt. And that's why at times you see a lot of athletes, when they throw it up, they catch it like this, which is just hell on the wrists and the elbows. So in my opinion, especially doing it with an easy curl bar, catching it like so at this angle, like this is natural for me. I mean, I want to see how you can see the angle here. Like this does not feel good. This does not feel natural. But this, on the other hand, I love holding this. This is a very natural position for me, whereas if I'm gonna rotate out, now all of a sudden it feels very funky already on my elbow. So now I'm throwing weight up and I'm catching it here. You can see that if you don't have the adequate mobility, something could go wrong. And that's actually what happened to me years ago when I got my USA weightlifting certification and I was getting really into that stuff. I wanted to start focusing on cleans and snatches and things of that sort. And if you guys know me, you know I'm obsessive about what I do. So I was doing like nothing but cleans, and I was messing around with different grips, trying to see what would feel the best. And I didn't go really wide, but I went pinky to the ring on the bar, and when I caught it out wider like so. And if you can see, it's just a horrible position for your shoulder, and that's one of the things that contributed to me spraining my AC joint, which is why I just ultimately stopped doing that in the first place. Like, I don't really care for the movements. I think cleans are very beneficial. They have their place, but to get technically proficient at them, especially if you transition to a full squat clean, that's going to take tremendous time. Not to say it takes tremendous time to get to a 300-pound clean, but anything above, obviously the more and more weight you move, the more skill that requires. And then you're looking at the question of, am I moving more weight because I'm becoming technically more efficient at the movement, or is it because I'm gaining more strength? So you got to look at it in that regard too. Are you getting more skilled, or are you actually getting stronger? So that's the thing with actually getting really involved with the Olympic lifts versus just doing like the brute strength athletic versions of them, like power cleans, versus actually doing full squat cleans. One doesn't require much skill, the other requires tremendous amounts of practice and time. So ultimately, just the supinated power clean, I'm not going to be able to move as much weight as if I was really practicing on doing a real pronated grip power clean and working on hang cleans and things of that sort, because it's just, when you throw yourself under, you can squat under it and you can catch it, like you can pull it a tad bit higher, like when you're doing your high pull, you can get your elbows obviously higher than if you're in a supinated grip. Like that's about as high as I can get my elbows. But that's, see there? Here. So you're limited in that regard. But that's not to say that it's still not going to be working your shoulders, your traps, your lats when doing underhand, like the way that I'm doing it as well. So it may seem just like a messing around movement, like a goofy movement, but I think that it has a lot of value to it. So let me just explain what I'm doing here for you guys, because I know a lot of you probably see it and you're like, what is this? Like just the ultimate cheat curl. And that's the thing, that's the first mistake, is it's not really a curl at all in any sense. There's really no curling motion, which is why I'm not concerned with tearing a bicep. It's more of my upper back and hip extension. You can also get triple extension like you would with cleans, but I'm not doing that yet because of my knee. I'm trying to stay away from like going on the balls of my feet, because now all of a sudden I have a smaller base of stability, and obviously less stability means more room for error, more room for injury. So I'm going to set this up here, and let me just explain what I'm doing. Okay, so to give you guys the legit rundown of how I'm doing this, if you can hear me all right. So I'm setting up just like I would for a power clean, right? Now what I'm doing, just like you would, I mean I got an easy curl bar here, but if I was doing a clean, right, you have your double knee bends, you're coming here, and then you're keeping it really close to your body, right? You're doing triple extension, and you're doing this high pull motion, that high pull. So, once again, squat, double knee bend, triple extension with a high pull. Now, I have my curl grip, my supinated grip, and it's almost the exact same thing. But what I do is, as I'm coming up, as opposed to doing double knee bend, and then like so, I do more so of coming up and I start pulling it here, like in my hips, so that once I hit that hip extension, I'm shrugging, I'm doing a high pull, supinated grip, high pull, and then I'm throwing my elbows underneath. Alright, let's do this from a different angle here. So the bottom phase is really no different than doing a clean. So, top phase. Man, gotta get that tripod, huh? Gotta get that camera, man. Very dark here. Okay. Pull, get past the knees, and that's when I'm rowing it. See that? So I'm getting my traps, my upper, my mid traps. I'm getting that lat involvement, the lat engagement here. And then as I hit extension, hip extension, I'm doing like a drag curl. I guess you could look at it that way. Drag curl or supinated grip, high pull. Okay? And then you can go two ways with that. So some of you guys have commented like, whoa, what are you doing with X amount of pounds that you've been doing lately? Haven't you done 455 pounds back in the day? And shoot! So yes, I have done 455 pounds, but that was with no catch, guys. I did not catch that weight. So that's the difference. Think about doing a power clean versus a high pull. That's exactly what it is. Same thing, same idea. So if I'm doing a power clean, once again, it's gonna be kind of weird because I have an easy curl bar, but right, doing my high pull, and I'm catching, right? That'll be the catch for power clean versus the high pull, which would just be so. So obviously you're gonna be able to move a tremendous amount more weight when just doing the high pull versus actually doing the catch. So that's the exact same thing with back in the day when I just did the supinated grip high pulls. Because all I was doing back then, and that's like what you guys see, it's like the same thing like Brad Castleberry and stuff, and all these people that are trying to move tremendous amounts of weight and saying it's a curl. Well, they're usually starting from just right here, and they're just getting their hips in. A lot of times they're using their hips to come right here, so their hips are getting it all the way up. So again, there's no biceps involved in the movement. That's not to say it's a bad movement, but it's more so of like a hip thrust. It's like just doing a high pull, or just working on purely hip extension. So like back in the day, I would get right here, right? But mainly, the funny thing is, I'd feel it more in my glutes than I'd feel in my biceps. So that gives you an idea that I'm not really too worried about tearing a bicep because it's more of a lower body dominant movement, lower body and upper back. The only way you would really tear a bicep is if you were doing it and you failed and you let it like catch with locked out elbows. But I never would do that because, as you can see, when I'm doing hip extension, I already have a slight bend in my elbows because I'm already pulling it up like so here, and if I fail, I just catch it right in my hips, like so. So my hips absorb all the impact as opposed to my biceps taking the impact in that stretch. So hot in here, so I'm glistening from sweat. So that's the difference, and that's why now the best I've done from the floor is 275. Keep in mind that I can't get triple extension because of my knee yet. So once my knee gets better, I'll inevitably get more explosiveness anyways. And then once I get back to 3 plates, get to 315, 325, 335, you'll say, well, you still did 455 back in the day. But that's because that was a high pull variation. So just a quick review of the technique that I use, because I know you guys will still be very confused when you see it. You're wondering what's even happening here. Okay, like I'm just doing a power clean, but I have a supinated grip. Okay, pulling, hip extension, shrug, high pull, shrug, high pull, shrug, high pull, catch. And that's another thing too, I can't really dip under the weight right now because my knee, everything's still recovering big time, and I can't risk that. So, you saw the bottom phase. Let me get one more angle here. Sorry guys, I really gotta get a tripod or something, it's ridiculous. We'll do both angles. Okay, curl grip, leg drive. Once I get past my knees, that's when I roll, right? Or it's more of a shrug. You can look at it both ways. Probably more so of a shrug. Past the knees, shrug, hip extension, high pull. Or in this case, trade curl to catch. Okay, squat it up, past the knees, rowing it basically, or shrugging it, however you want to look at it. Yates row, you can look at it that way. Like right, my torso is more upright. Here, hip extension, trade curl. So, the main thing before my camera dies, oh man, we got 30 seconds left. The biggest mistake people make when they do cleans is they do reverse curl. And that's not right. You want to think about lifting your shirt with the barbell. See how my elbows are? As opposed to if I'm doing like this. So when people are cleaning, they're doing reverse curl catch. Wrong. Clean, hip extension, lift your shirt, catch. So now just think the exact same thing with a curl grip. Hip extension, lift your shirt, catch. lift your shirt, shoot your elbows underneath. So then when it's really fast,